How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether price is going up or down. Over on the stochastic for the daily for Dixie, we are starting to see a bit of a round. We did come down toward our support area. We did see Bitcoin break down, even though Dixie did push down as well. Our RSI is pulling back. The VWAP does want to round away. Momentum, our blue wave, is starting to get a little bit of curling, so if that yellow wave, the VWAP, does break down, momentum could sell off, and we could see that green wave, our money flow, become red and signal we are seeing more sell-off. That would be positive. That would give us a rejection of our resistance, a breakdown, and possibly a pump for crypto. But remember, we have some CPI news coming. We did have ETF sell-offs, so depending on how CPI and the ETF sell-offs kind of shake out, that's going to be the determinant of if we'll go up or down. If CPI is not the greatest, we're probably not getting interest rate cuts. If we don't get interest rate cuts, people aren't going to buy risky assets. Bitcoin's a risky asset. Over on the 4-hour, we did hold our support, then we got a breakdown. We did reject our EMAs, and we haven't been able to get above them. We do have a manipulation X here that does want to bring us lower. Momentum is dropping that blue wave. Our VWAP is rounding away with lower lows. If we round here, we'll get a lower high that will create a bearish trend, which will bring momentum lower and weaken that money flow. And if we start to see the 4-hour weaken, that daily will weaken as well. Over on the 2-hour, momentum is dropping down. That VWAP does want to round away. Money flow is a little iffy. It does want to break bullish, but if our VWAP rounds away here, momentum will remain bearish, and that money flow will get suppressed, which will weaken those higher time frames. So I would lean more on the 1 and 2 hour, very close here. Over on the 1 hour, we do have a little bit of consolidation going on after a drop down. So this could be a bear flag just at the bottom of our channel. That could give us that confirmation of a breakdown. Remember, watch for the breakdown, the retest, and the rejection afterwards. If you don't get a rejection after your retest, you can still go forward. Our stochastic does want to push up. RSI is pretty flat, but if that stochastic continues to remain overbought, RSI will continue forward, and that will bring price action higher. Our momentum does want to round away as our VWAP is starting to pull back, so watch if the VWAP makes a lower low. If we see a lower or consistent low here, we could see the bears regain control, and if they regain control, that could push us down. Remember, we would retest the 300 EMA. We likely would drop down, hit that EMA, make our bounce, make our retest, and that's where you would want to watch for a rejection. If we do get that rejection, we could push to the 104.5, possibly the 103.6 area. So over on total for the daily, we did push down to the bottom of our channel. We did try to get our break up, and we got a rejection, so we'll jump to the 1 hour to kind of unpack what happened. So we did get our break up. This is that run forward, and then overall we did snap back down. We did push down toward the bottom of our support. That was our second touchdown, and now we are trying to break up one more time. This could be positive for the altcoins, because if we can continue to push up, we would gain that bullish momentum here, and that could help propel us forward. Odds are, if total keeps increasing and Bitcoin decreases, we would have a bit of an alt season. Bitcoin did run up ahead of all the alts. Alts have been flat for pretty much the whole year, so we really haven't seen many of the significant alts gain much headway. Our momentum does want to push forward. VWAP does have higher highs with higher lows, so we do have a slight bullish trend going on. If we can remain above the 0 here, VWAP could help push momentum higher, and money flow could start to reverse. If that does happen, we would want to see a break of that yellow EMA for that to happen. But if that does happen, that could help propel us further up. Over on the daily, we'll just do the hourly and the daily. We did push down to the bottom. You do see that quick jump up. So we've been kind of zigzagging around. We did hit our flag, and we rejected the retest. So I would warn against any bearish momentum, because that could give us a rejection after that retest, and we could see a continued move to the 300 EMA, but that would be providing the 1 hour loses bullish momentum. VWAP is a little indecisive. Momentum does want to pull back. It really can't pull back though. So if that VWAP can break up on those lower time frames, we will see it start to gain strength and push momentum and money flow further here on the daily. So zooming out on Bitcoin dominance, that way we can see our fixed range volume profile here. we are getting a pretty bad rejection after rejecting the value area high, that red line. We are seeing quite the push down. We are pushing near the point of control now. We're about halfway there. So if we see red candles right at that point of control, that's where Bitcoin dominance could continue to weaken. RSI is pulling back, momentum's dropping down. VWAP has lower lows with lower highs, causing momentum to drop. And if that continues, our money flow will start to pull back as well. And we could see Bitcoin lose against the altcoins. So over on futures, we do have a pretty quick move down. We do have a little bit of a gap above us though, so this quick move down could be retraced by some support. We did hit just shy of that 58k area, so right where we said we could hit, we got our full move down for our descending channel, or a rising channel that makes you fall, sorry. We also broke away from our other patterns, so cleaning all this up, we do still have the double top possibility, but if we are able to meet that support here, we could start to bounce, fill that gap, and if we do push up to fill that gap, we would want to watch for continued bullish momentum. If we get that continued bullish momentum, we could make a bounce through that value area low toward the point of control and try to run back forward. RSI is pulling back, VWAP is in the bearish territory, momentum's pushing down, and the money flow is weakening. So watch these lower time frames. If they remain more bullish, we could see some sort of a rounding bottom. We have a little mini gap here around the 62.3 area, possibly one right around the 65.2, and we don't really have any others that I see right now, so I would watch those levels. RSI does want to pull back. Stochastic is favoring the bearish territory. The VWAP does have higher lows, and it is trying to run up. If that VWAP can get higher high, that would be positive. That would push our momentum further up, and our money flow could gain strength. However, if our VWAP rejects here, we will see momentum remain bearish, money flow will continue to weaken, and that daily will continue to break down. Over on the 2 hour, you can see that gap up right here around that 64.1, a little better, but we also have a gap below us. Ideally, we would reject our EMA here, fill the gap below us, and then push to the higher gap. RSI and Stochastic do want to bounce forward. Momentum is trying to gain strength. We have a double green dot. Money flow is pulling back, and the VWAP's indecisive. We did get a higher low, and we are technically making a higher high, but if that does not sustain, we likely would round away, drop down, fill our gap, and if we see that continue as we fill that gap, we could still continue to our 57k area. Over on the 1 hour, we do again have that gap above and below us, so watch them close. Stochastic wants to run up, RSI is pushing forward, VWAP is trying to run up. We have weak lows with stronger highs, so we are trying to create a bullish trend. Remember that bullish trend could help push us up, but if we do push up here without filling our gap, then we do leave this gap behind to fill at a later date possibly. Momentum is favoring bearish, money flow is pulling back, but if that VWAP can stay above neutral, that can reverse and start to give those higher time frames some strength. So over on Bitcoin for the daily, we did reject this channel. That was a pretty loose channel, but we did end up rejecting, much like we said we could. So we did warn against hitting any kind of resistances, pushing back down. We have been warning of these ranges for quite some time. Excuse me real quick. So overall, I would watch out. Our RSI is pulling back. That VWAP does have a rejection of the neutral, and it is starting to pull back here. We can zoom in. We have lower consistent lows with lower highs, pushing for lower lows. So we are making a bearish trend, bringing momentum down and weakening money flow, bringing it to the bearish territory. And we do have that trend reversal here. So that trend reversal does signal that the daily is becoming more bearish. So I would watch if that bearish pressure continues. If it does, then that's where we could see that double top bring us lower. That VWAP does have lower lows. We are trying to push the neutral though, so watch if we can create a bullish trend. If we can create a bullish trend, momentum could bounce forward and money flow could gain some strength. RSI and Stochastic do want to bounce, but don't get overexcited until they cross that 30 and hold. Over on our 2 hour, kind of hard to zoom in here, so momentum is trying to push up. We have a green dot. VWAP is trying to remain bullish, money flow is trying to push up, Stochastic does want to run forward, and the RSI is trying to gain strength. Again, watch the gap on futures. We could see a little bit of a sell-off, then a bounce forward, and fill that higher gap above us. Our stochastic does want to run up. RSI is pushing forward. VWAP does want to gain some strength. We have a higher high after trying to break for a lower low, so this could be positive if we can maintain bullish momentum. Momentum does have bullish divergence that wants to push forward, and the money flow is gaining strength. So as long as that VWAP does not start to break toward the neutral and break through that neutral, we can see the bulls gain some strength, push us up to our 63, and if we can break and hold that, we could retest our EMA and then try to continue forward. However, if that VWAP does break to the bearish side, we will see bearish continuation, possibly pushing down closer to that 57K we warned about, and possibly pushing to the 52, 51.5. Remember, if we break that 51.5, that is our double top, that could bring us even lower. So over on graph for the daily, zooming out here, we are overall pushing down. We do have a rejection of that EMA level, but we are trying to make a bounce off our channel. With the way the rest of the market goes, we could see a continuation of this bounce, so we could try to break that 300 EMA and then continue up toward these other EMA levels. Our stochastic does want to round away. RSI is pushing forward, momentum is gaining strength, and the money flow does want to run up. Again, watch that EMA around the 21,649. If we get a rejection, we could still see bearish continuation from that point. But this does look like a pretty decent bounce off the top of our channel after prolonging, kind of riding the top of it for such a long time. Stochastic does want to push up. RSI is gaining strength. VWAP wants to run up. We do have a higher high. This is positive. That creates bullish momentum to help push the momentum and money flow further up. And as they push forward, we could see the bulls gain control and try to run us higher. Over on the 2 hour, stochastic and RSI are running up. VWAP does want to push forward. We do have a lower high though, so watch that VWAP close. If we continue with lower highs and lower lows, momentum could break down and money flow would reject further into the bearish territory, and we could see a breakdown. If we do move this pole to right around where we are, if I can grab it, we do have about half of our break up from this retest zone here. So I would exercise caution. If we get hung up on that purple EMA, we could end up breaking lower if we're not careful. Stochastic does want to pull back. I would watch. RSI is running up, but if that VWAP breaks down, we could start to see a sell-off here. So watch the 1 and 2 hour close. Over on this 1 hour, we do have a pretty decent continuation of this down channel. That down channel is above our other channel. I would watch. We're really not gaining strong bullish momentum and running up. Stochastic does want to run up. RSI is pushing forward. VWAP is indecisive. We got a lower high with lower lows, but now we are trying to make a higher high. If we can continue to favor bullish here, momentum could continue higher and money flow could gain strength. Just watch if that VWAP breaks bearish and can't get back over. If it can't get back over after breaking bearish, that's where we would see a breakdown and a trend reversal. So over on Ankr for the daily, we do have this, moving everything around, we do have this descending channel. That descending channel did want to break us forward, so we do have, if we delete this, we do have that run up to that resistance area of 30.74. If we cannot break and hold, then we could still see a rejection, but this is a long lower shadow candle that does show the bears try to break us down and the bulls gain strength to run us up. Our stochastic is rounding away. RSI wants to pull back. Our momentum is rounding, so if that VWAP breaks down, we will see money flow remain more bearish, and we could see the daily give up some gains. However, if we can see a decent bounce here, we could make a double bottom. This double bottom would then try to run us up and then try to break us forward. So our neckline would be that resistance area. We could draw from the head to the neck, apply that up, and that could give us a break to our 40.49, providing we see that continued bullish momentum. So we do look okay as far as the daily pattern, but just watch, because if we start to reject this 30.79, then that double top could get rejected and we could see a breakdown instead. Stochastic wants to round off. It is running up overall, so I would watch if it can continue to push up. RSI will remain bullish and we could continue further up. Momentum does want to push up. VWAP is pushing up with that momentum and the money flow is gaining strength. If this can continue, we could start to see the daily gain some bullish momentum. I would watch on the 2-hour. We have a gap below it, so we could pull back, hit a bounce forward, and continue up. That would be the ideal move to get that bullish run up. Our stochastic does want to push up. We are overbought right now. RSI is pretty maxed out. VWAP did try to break that neutral, but we bounced, so we have a higher high with a higher low. If we can stay above that zero, momentum will push further, and money flow could start to gain strength, helping push us 2-hour toward that 34.58, 37.67, and then our 40.49. Over on that 1 hour, we are seeing a little bit of a round as we hit a red EMA. So watch, if we do pull back, hit that gap and make a bounce, that would be positive. But if we pull back, hit that gap and continue to drop, we could see the bears break us to that 28.83, and we could end up slipping lower. Stochastic does look like it wants to round away, so I would exercise caution. RSI is pretty flat. Our momentum is starting to round. The VWAP does have a higher high, but we do have a strong low as well, so I would watch. If that VWAP breaks down and can't recover, we will see momentum taper off, bringing money flow lower and weakening the higher time frames. But if that VWAP can make a bounce off the neutral, or at least peak into the bearish territory and then jump back up, we could see a continuation. So over on XRP for the daily, we are staying within this channel. So this top may be kind of linked up pretty decently. We would want to see how the bottom of this channel kind of trades on us. Stochastic does want to pull back. The RSI is losing strength. Momentum is rounding away. We do have that red dot signaling VWAP broke down. VWAP is continuing to break down. So if that does continue, we will continue to see a drop. We did push around that 46, just shy of the 44-45 range. So that could be positive. This is a long lower shadow, but it's a red long lower shadow. So I would exercise caution. If it's followed by another red candle, we could see bearish continuation, and we may break that 45-44 support and push closer toward that 35 if we aren't careful here. So over on the 4-hour, we did hit the top. We did get that rejection, so that was like a manipulation push right here. That did hit that 300 EMA. We rejected that EMA, and then we continue lower. RSI is pulling back. Stochastic does want to round up. Momentum does have a double green dot, and it's pushing forward. But that VWAP does want to round away, signaled by that red dot. So if that VWAP breaks for lower lows with its lower high, we could start to see bearish favor, and that could bring us lower. Over on the 2-hour here, we are overall trending down. Momentum does look like it is starting to round. We have a green dot though. So if that VWAP can gain some significant strength, we could see momentum push up, money flow could push up, and we could see a bounce. But I would just watch. Ideally, we would get that third touch to the bottom and then get a breakup afterwards. But if we do push to the top of this channel, we could get an early break up. Over on the 1-hour, we did get close to our higher EMAs and we got rejected. We do have these manipulation X's. Both times we saw these recent ones, they did break us down. That does show how those manipulation X's can drop you lower, but also sometimes they don't play out, like this one back here. We did run up. That's why it's important to use Confluence and watch your other indicators. But that VWAP does want to push up. It is in the bullish territory. Momentum is getting bullish divergence. So if that VWAP can remain bullish, we could start to run forward and gain some strength. Our RSI is pushing up. Stochastic is pushing forward. So we do look decent as long as we can see that VWAP sustain this bullish push. If that VWAP breaks through the neutral and we see a lower or consistent low with this weak high, then we could see a push down, possibly pushing down toward the bottom of our channel, and then ideally making that bounce forward afterwards. So last but not least, unless you drop something in the comments that you want to see, we do have a long lower shadow here on the daily for ALGO. This does want to run us up, but we are struggling to break through that 1350. Money flow is pulling back. VWAP is flat. Momentum is just as flat. RSI and Stochastic don't know where they want to go. So overall, the daily doesn't really tell us much. Over on the 4-hour, we do have lower highs with lower lows. So this could be a bearish channel. This could end up breaking us down. They don't really connect, so never mind on that. That does mean that instead of being a descending channel to break you forward, this is that bearish continuation. That bearish continuation can continue to drop you down just like it suggests. that VWAP does want to push up, momentum is gaining strength, stochastic wants to run up, and RSI is trying to push forward, but overall I would exercise caution as we are struggling to break that resistance. Stochastic is running up, our RSI wants to push forward here on the 2 hour, VWAP has higher highs with higher lows, so we do have a bullish trend pushing momentum higher and giving money flow strength. If that bullish trend can continue, we could start to run up and break our support, then we would want to see a retest and a bounce forward in order to continue up in a pretty positive manner. Remember, if you shoot up real quick or down real quick, usually that's retraced. Over on the 1 hour, stochastic is running away, RSI is pulling back, the VWAP does want to break down, momentum's running away, and money flow is starting to curl back, so overall we do have bearish strength here. If this bearish strength continues and that VWAP breaks down, we will see momentum reject and money flow will fall flat. That will result in us starting to stumble toward that 10-cent area. However, if our VWAP can stay above the 0 and make a bounce, we could see momentum help carry money flow further, and if that maintains for several candles, we could see that run up. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night.